On today's Q&A, we're going to be talking about 4 common questions which have come through recently on the pipeline, or actually on the phone. The first question is it safe for women to do intermittent fasting? Absolutely it is. If you look at the Muslim community, there's billions of them who do intermittent fasting. And if it affected fertility or if it affected hormones or women's health, then they simply wouldn't be able to reproduce. And they're probably one of the biggest populations in terms of religions in the world, so there's clearly no issues in terms of reproduction. So it's safe for women to reproduce, and it's safe for women in terms of hormones and those types of women's health type issues to do intermittent fasting. Centuries and billions of women are testament to this in the world. And intermittent fasting is different to fasting during Ramadan that Muslims do, because you're allowed to drink as much water as you want, and so it's kind of different. But it's still healthy. Next question is, can you drink? I've got the questions on here, so I might be looking down at it sometimes. Next question is, can you drink coffee while doing intermittent fasting? So there's 2 schools of thought with this. One of them is thanks to Dr. Rhonda Patrick and the information that she shared on Joe Rogan podcast, and that school of thought, which is that you're not allowed to have anything because your body clock is going to kickstart some enzymes if you have anything in your mouth. And the other school of thought is the more Dr. Fung guide to intermittent fasting rules and regulations type thing, where he says actually, and you'll put the Warrior Diet and those guys, who's these guys who do that? Lean Gains, and also Brad Pitton, who do bodybuilding type intermittent fasting. So that's the other school of thought, and those guys will have low calorie stuff. So they might have some greens like broccoli. Some of them might say it's fine to have that. Some of them might say it's fine to have chewing gum. Some of them might say it's fine to have also in that category is Keto Body. Also, who will say it's fine to have black coffee, black tea, and green tea, and I'm in that school of thought. The rationale for this is because, as with anything in life, consistency is key. And if you're being very extreme and you say you're not going to have anything, even if you really need it, you're unlikely to stick with intermittent fasting. The people that I know who have done it for the longest, and I've done it for 2 years, over 2 years, are the ones that make it flexible. So on days where you can't do it, don't do it. On days where you want to have a black coffee or black tea, have a black coffee and black tea. If you can do without it, do without it. But there's no harm in having it. I've done before and afters of myself, as well as hundreds of people, if not thousands of people, and they do the same protocol and they haven't had any issues. So what's better? It's probably better to have nothing and just have water. But are you not going to lose weight, or are you not going to get the same health benefits from having a black tea which has 2 calories and black coffee which has 2 calories? So very low calorie foods which aren't going to spike your insulin. And I would say the answer is no. So you're still going to get the same benefits. It's going to allow you to be more consistent, and you're going to keep intermittent fasting up for longer. So you should, if you need, have black coffee and black tea. Next question is, can you have water? Of course you can have water. If you don't have water, that's not intermittent fasting. That is fasting like Muslims do for Ramadan, which is you abstain from any type of food or drink. And that's not what intermittent fasting is about. Intermittent fasting is about giving your body a larger window of opportunity for it to do its housekeeping, because you're not eating until usually around lunchtime. Your body has to use the stored energies, which is your fat, between the hours of when you're awake till lunchtime. So usually around, let's say 7 a.m. till 12, your body is burning fat for fuel. And that's the theory behind intermittent fasting. Water has nothing to do with that. So you want to drink water because your stomach has stretch receptors as opposed to calorie receptors. So if you fill up on water, you're not going to feel as hungry. You're also going to flush out the body. And if you follow the work of Dr. Batman and his book called The Water Cure, you'll know that water is really important for general health, and we're chronically dehydrated. Most of us are. So using that window of opportunity to hydrate yourself is really important. So you can, throughout 24 hours, you can drink as much water as you want, and you should drink a lot of water, usually around 2.5 liters per person. Next question is results. How long would it take to get results? I would say bloating is normally the most common issue that people have when they eat ad libitum, which means eat whenever they want. And if you do intermittent fasting, you should notice a difference on bloating within days. In terms of weight loss, I usually tell people to wait 12 weeks, and that's important for behavior change and for forming habits. But it's also important to be realistic, and in the studies show you should lose about 2 kg per month. So if you're waiting 12 weeks, you're going to potentially lose a stone or half a stone around that mark, which is a good kind of time frame to kind of expect or wait. Rules for intermittent fasting is there are no rules. Essentially, all you're trying to do is eat between a restricted window of time. You can start that off with 10 hours, you can jump straight to 8. So that, for example, would mean you eat between noon and 8 p.m. You eat all of your meals within that time. You don't skip breakfast as such. You still eat breakfast, but you eat it later in the day, so you eat at 12. So you have your breakfast and lunch together, or you have your breakfast at 12, and then you have your lunch at 2, and then you have your tea at 4, and then you have your dinner at 6 or 8, whatever you want, and have a snack at 8. So you eat within 8 hours. That's the main questions that people have. 16-8, that's what 16-8 means. You eat within 8 hours and you fast 16 hours, which adds up to 24. So within a 24-hour period, you're eating within 8, fasting for 16, you have water throughout. Joe Rogan has talked a lot about intermittent fasting and made Dr. Rhonda Patrick famous. So thanks to Joe Rogan for that. He's made it popular. And Kino Body, there's a couple of other guys who've really kind of brought it out into the mainstream. And it is the big dieting trend for 2018. So stay tuned, watch this space, because you'll hear more about it than any other diet, even more than the keto diet. So fasting versus ketogenic diet. Ketogenic diet, the idea is that you have fats. Fats don't cause as much insulin spike, so you don't put your body into a fat storage state. So you can lose weight through a ketogenic diet, which is basically you're reducing carbs and eating more fats. And you can do that method, or you can do the intermittent fasting method to lose weight, or you can do both. I wouldn't recommend doing both, it's too intense. And in terms of keto versus intermittent fasting, I believe intermittent fasting is better. There are some potential associated health risks with ketogenic diets, or see what works for you. So there's some people who feel really strongly about this stuff, so try out both, see what works for your body, what's better for you. Most of the research around intermittent fasting is around longevity, so it makes animals live longer, which means that potentially we're kind of an animal as well, so it should make us live longer as well. Apple cider vinegar in intermittent fasting. A lot of people have apple cider vinegar or lemon water and stuff like that in the mornings. Ideally, you shouldn't have that kind of stuff, because it's food, or it's not food, it's fluids, which is calorie fluids, so it is going to start your kind of body working and your digestive tract working. So you ideally want to not have anything at all apart from water within your fasting window, or black coffee or black tea. I wouldn't recommend having apple cider vinegar or lemon water during your fasting window. Although if you feel like you really need it, then do it. But you can have it during your fasting window, but I mean your eating window. But during your fasting window, if you feel like you really need it and you can't do intermittent fasting without it, then do it. Because as I said, consistency is key. That's the most important factor. Terry Crews is a legend. He's a role model of mine. If you want somebody to kind of aspire towards, look at some of the stuff he says. One of the things he says about going to the gym is treat it like a health spa, which means that you kind of don't go there with the intention of working out. You just go there with the intention of just going there. And when you go there, you're bound to do something. So if you go there every day, you're bound to improve your health. And that's one of the tips that I've picked up from him. He's also a big proponent of intermittent fasting. He's kind of made it go viral, and he's not trying to make money out of it. So I definitely recommend following his advice on intermittent fasting, because there is a lot of shady information out there, a lot of snake oil merchants out there. So try and follow people who aren't trying to make money out of it, who are simply trying to share advice so they can get this tool into as many hands as possible. And if you look at the research on running, for example, in the 1950s, very few people did it, but now everybody does it and everyone considers it a tool for health. And I want to make intermittent fasting the same thing. I want everyone to know about it so that they can use it when they need it, and or as a lifestyle, and get the same health benefits. So do try it out, see how you get on. Leave a comment in the comment box below if you've tried it, if it hasn't worked for you, if you've tried it and it has worked for you. And I reply to every single comment that you send, I reply to. So please do send one of those symbol comments and I'll get back to you.